Welcome to episode 4 of Hope, Honoring Ourselves Purposefully Every Day. I'm your host, Deb Bartok, and today on our episode, we're going to talk about stress. Stress is key for survival, but too much of it is detrimental to our well-being. Too much stress can play a huge part in our health and wellness problems. Stay tuned while we learn how to manage emotional, physical, and psychological stress. We stress about stress before there's even stress to stress about. Then we stress about stressing over stress that doesn't need to be stressed about, which is stressful. We're at the Cobblestone Manor with Conrad Bamey. Hi, Conrad.
Hi, Deb.
What have you got for us today?
I have got some good stuff related to stress. So I'm a registered psychologist, and I've been with the Westwind School Division as a school psychologist and counselor for the past 20 years.
Wow.
So I've got a few years under my belt and have worked with kids as young as 3 years of age, typically to 21 years old when our students are graduating. And I have a private practice and working with individuals all the way up to, I think the oldest client I've ever had is about in their 80s. So,
wow.
So there's
Good.
no age limit.
I
love to work with people that have lots of life experiences and are willing to work on their stuff to get to a better place.
Right. Yeah.
With balance. So.
Good. Okay, so I feel a little bit stressed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in front of the camera, and I really don't know you that well, and so help me.
So let's start with that. Like, you know, a little stress, mild levels of stress are actually helpful. Like in certain circumstances,
Motivate
like when we
you
have,
forward.
yeah, they'll motivate you. They bring a level of alertness and arousal to our nervous system.
Okay.
You mentioned, Deb, that you've got years as a performer, so you recognize that nervous energy that you're feeling right now. So let's just acknowledge it. I like to actually pinpoint where in our bodies are we experiencing this energy, this level of arousal. If in the belly, me too. That's where I feel a lot of stress is in the belly.
Yeah.
So even acknowledging that it's there, accepting that it's there, it's providing our body something that it needs. Because if we were both kind of blasé about the interview and had zero energy,
right,
we wouldn't have the energy we need to be able to perform and, you know, sit upright and be able to speak and articulate clearly. So let's acknowledge it. Let's put our hands right there, just in that area where we're experiencing some of that energy. And just be aware that I've got some energy, maybe a little bit of anxiety, arousal, a little bit of stress is there in the belly, and just acknowledging it's there. I'm alive. You might even say some things that are helpful. I'm alive, and I've got some of this stress energy that's going to help me to perform and do my job as a television interviewer and help others that might experience stress on a regular basis to get to a better place. So
Right.
So acknowledging that it's there. Have you noticed a small shift in how the energy is?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it gives it purpose, like you said, you know. There's a reason for it, and if you can focus on the positive reason for that, the outcome that I hope to have.
So even as we acknowledge that it's there, maybe we might have certain inclinations within ourselves to, maybe we want to stretch, maybe we want to just tap into, if we got some of this nervous energy, maybe we want to just move a little bit, give it a little bit of movement and flow, so it's not just stuck in one spot.
Right.
So
I find I want to breathe deeper. I forget sometimes to breathe.
So let's do that together.
Deeply.
Deb, let's
Okay.
do that. Let's acknowledge that body response that you want to breathe on a deeper level, and let's see if we can breathe some of that positive energy and oxygen right down to your gut. Just I'll actually breathe so I can hear myself breathing and bring an awareness to the sound. I can even teach you something called the VU breathing if you're interested. So this is a technique by Dr. Peter Levine. He's a somatic experiencing trauma expert. And so if you feel some of that gut energy, you can take in a deep breath while exhaling. Can you feel that? Did you feel some energy flowing?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's very calming.
Yeah. So the VU breathing, we've already taught some of your listeners a powerful technique. The vibrations that are created with that deep guttural breathing and that VU sound, it allows that shifting and flow of energy. Allows it to move.
That's what I love about this is we've done breathing with Stephanie and Raymond at Studio 8, deep breathing. And this adds to it. So I just love all the different.
Well, there's science behind the breathing as well as even the VU breathing. Like, there's a nerve that runs right through our bodies up to the face, and that's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is involved in trauma response. Okay. So when we have a gut response, the vagus nerve runs right through the gut. So doesn't it make sense when we have stress? Oftentimes that's one of the areas of the body where we experience it. Yeah. So we address it, and we can have that flow of stress and energy to allow it to move, and doesn't have to remain stuck.
Yeah, I feel better. Good.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome.
All right, so what are the balloons for? I just have this curiosity. I'm just looking at these colorful balloons.
Well, the balloons are part of one of the techniques I would use. So I'm going to give you a balloon.
Okay.
Unless you want to pick a certain color.
Blue is my favorite color.
Okay,
you
all
picked
right. So
right.
my gut was right on the mark. So again, when we're experiencing stress, like one of the go-tos that I use with kids, children, adults is bringing an awareness to how am I breathing. It's called heart rate variability. When we are in a stress response, our heart rate tends to elevate. We have all this adrenaline that can hit the system. Stress impacts, our kidneys and adrenaline, and it secretes these various stress hormones to help keep us alive. So the stress response isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing when we're in danger, right?
Right.
So when we're not in danger and we have that high stress response, we need to learn to tame the beast, tame that anxiety, that stress beast, when it's overpowering us, when it's throwing our lives in disarray and imbalancing us.
Don't stress about the stress.
Yes.
That we have.
So it's really hard for the body and the mind to remain in a stress response when we're curious about the world, or even playful. So we're going to be curious about these balloons right now. We're going to notice the texture of the balloons in our hands, how slippery and soft the balloons and rubbery that the balloons are, stretchy. So we can incorporate that. We can just notice, I'm going to check out the color, maybe notice if there's any blemishes in the balloon, and might stretch it a bit. Move some of that energy that might be in our hands, because we can feel energy in our hands when we're stressed. So we might feel the nerve to stretch it, so the balloon's going to be able to blow up better. And we can actually put that balloon in our mouths and just see how few slow breaths we can take to blow up the balloon. So we can do this with our kids at home, right? If they're really stressed out before exams, stressed out about going to school. Wow. It's like, let's do some deep breathing and be aware that our bodies have some stress and some anxiety in it, and we can slow our breathing down, slow our heart rate down, and actually feel calmer. So
with a balloon.
Now these balloons might be a little on the small side.
Okay, I need more stress.
No, I may say, like, for some people, balloons might be a stressor for them. Like, I've actually
stress you out trying to blow the dog, especially on TV.
So you can actually choose something like bubbles.
Oh, there you go.
So if you feel like I can't really, like, it's really hard for me to blow up the balloon, pick a little bottle of bubbles.
Right.
And take a nice slow breath, and imagine you're blowing bubbles out.
But you know, I like the balloon idea because of feeling the texture and the rubber. It's like
the
a
color.
Stress ball almost, right?
So you could actually, you could actually do that. You could, after you've blown it up, you can feel like, man, my balloon's about ready to burst here, so I got to be careful when I'm squeezing it. But it also, with the idea of stress as energy in the nervous system, we can actually take it a step further. This is something that I like, and it's something that I will use with people. It's like, now that you've blown up the balloon, I want you to take various body parts and see if you can't keep that balloon up in the air. Yeah, so maybe use every single feeling. Maybe use your nose and keep it up. So you notice the laughter. You notice the shift in energy in the room.
Lighter.
It's light. So when the body is playful and curious, it's very hard to remain in a stress response.
Right. Oh, that's perfect.
So that's why I brought the balloons today. It's
right.
being playful and curious. In fact,
that's something I never thought of, being playful and curious. You know, I know stress. When I think of stress, I think of breathing. I think of meditation. I think of all of the things that calm us. Never thought of being playful and curious. That's excellent.
So along with that, Deb, for some people that find, like you brought up meditation, for people that have per se like trauma as part of their life experience, meditation might be a daunting task for them. Going within and noticing what's going on inside, especially if you've had a number of life events that have made life a pretty scary experience.
Okay.
So going inwards for some people, meditation, mindfulness meditation, might be a really scary experience. So I would suggest something like an external awareness, an external meditation. Right. So we could do that in the cobblestone manner right now. We can check out perhaps some of the lights up there, the antique lights. So if we're experiencing high stress and it's scary for us to go inward into what we're experiencing inside, we can check out our environment outside. We might look at the amazing woodwork that's up on the ceiling, the antique light fixtures, and notice the vibrant colors that are there, the different shades of green.
So we're focusing on other things and beautiful things and interesting things.
It brings a different part of the brain online when we are curious about our environment.
Yes, that curiosity, that's excellent. Never thought of that. That's wonderful.
So a lot of people might enjoy nature, so getting outside and just even noticing a tree, how old the tree is, the different shades of green that are in the tree, maybe branches that are a little bit, that might have some of the leaves that have died. So noticing the different parts of the tree and bringing an awareness to the tree can help settle a stressed nervous system.
Right.
So that particular strategy is called 5-4-3-2-1. I can't remember the person who created it, but you can bring 5 things within your visual field that you notice, 5 different colors. And then you going through 4, you go 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 might be, what are 4 sounds that you notice in your environment right now? Yeah, so you're incorporating the different body and brain senses, and you're incorporating that. So 3 different, number 3 might be 3 different physical sensations I'm feeling. I'm feeling a kind of a cool breeze from the fan that's hitting us. I'm feeling
sunlight, the warmth of sunlight.
Yeah, the warmth of the sunlight coming through the window. Sort of the softness, but the firmness of the chair. Right. So bringing our awareness to that can help bring our level of stress to a calmer level, because we're alert, we're focused.
Now, the Institute of Stress, America, says that the #1 health problem is stress. in North America. How do you feel about that? Do you see that in your practice, that stress brings on a lot of mental disorders? Or is it the chicken before the egg? Which one comes first? You know?
I agree that chronic stress would be the source of that, because, like I said before, there is a living is filled with things that help us feel alive, and stress, as long as it's not creating an imbalance in our lives or creating a chronic sense of I can't meet the things in life that need to be fulfilled. I think if we get to the point where chronic stress is impacting us and we just can't find that balance, I would agree with that the chronic stress over time does lead to mental health as well as physical health symptoms.
Definitely physical, yeah.
And Dr. Gabor Mate would agree with that. He's a Canadian, I believe he's a Canadian psychiatrist, and he talks about our bodies. His book is When the Body Says No. So if we don't take care of ourselves, our wants, our needs, and coping with the stressors that we have, our bodies will do it for us in terms of finding physical manifestations of disease.
Right.
So I would agree
something we want to learn to manage and recognize. I like the way you taught us to kind of tune in to what we're feeling. Because sometimes, I know with me, I have 5 children, busy, and most of us are busy nowadays. I don't have the 5 children now around me, but when I did, I barreled through life and often didn't even stop to feel what my body was thinking about at all.
I find myself when I've had some of those stressful weeks where work has been so busy, so chaotic, and life raising teenagers at home, and financial stressors that hit, like the van needs to be repaired. And sometimes you have those weeks where it's like it all hits at once.
Right.
And if we don't book in those times where we take care of ourselves, we may find it's like, wow, when we do reflect, what's going on inside, what's happening in my body with those high stress weeks, we might find that it's like, wow, my stomach is really tight, my breathing is really fast, rather than slow, steady, and even. Or we might notice, wow, I've had a tension headache this week. So if we take the time to acknowledge, I've had a stressful week, and we actually book in those moments and opportunities for self-care, we'll find that, wow, okay, I'm noticing a softening now. I'm noticing a kind of a tingling sensation. The body will thank us when we take care of it.
Yeah, it does.
You notice it softens, it settles. Some people will have actually described in session with me, it's like, I'm feeling like just this warm, tingly. I'm like, it's called your parasympathetic nervous system. That's rest and digest. The opposite of the fight or flight.
Fight and flight, yeah.
It's the opposite. Too often, like, we get in that, I don't know, the super highway of stress. And we forget to park at the side of the road and notice all the nature and the beauty that's in our lives.
Yeah, slow down, be still.
So notice, as I said that, I had my balloon here in a really gentle pose as I was talking about this. Isn't that funny? Talking about taking that moment to slow down.
Right. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
Well, I guess just the idea, the difference between post-traumatic stress, so trauma-related stress, and just day-to-day stressors. Like, if people have a life experience where they face a near-death situation, or a situation where they are exposed to violence, or abuse, like that would be, or hearing of someone else that you love that has experienced a near-death experience or a threat to their life, their vitality. That's what post-traumatic stress is about. It overwhelms our ability to cope with life. And when people are in that type of stress, I often hear people saying, "Oh, I had a PTSD week." Well, did you really have a PTSD week? Were you in a life-threatening car accident? Like, I would prefer people to say, "I've had a stressful week." So recognize, yeah, I've had maybe it's been a chronically stressful couple weeks, versus saying, you know, I've had a PTSD week. Well, unless you've been in a car accident or exposed to violence in some way, you really haven't had a PTSD week. It may be just a highly stressful week. So to differentiate the two. And people with PTSD often have significant symptoms that impair their ability to function. They just cannot get out of that emotional fear response regardless of what. Maybe they use a number of the self-help strategies we talked about, and they can't get out of that stuck adrenaline fight or flight.
And that's when they would need to come see someone.
That's when they would need to see their medical doctor, psychologist, clinical social worker, or a mental health professional that has expertise in that trauma field to help them normalize what they're experiencing, because a lot of times people think, I'm just this aberrant human being, that something's wrong with me. And if they recognize, if they're taught, no, this is the brain's designed to keep you alive, and hearing that normalized, their response is a normal, it's a response that's supposed to be there when you're in danger. Then that's a helpful part of the process to get them to move towards healing. We'd also use the self-help strategies, the deep breathing, the mindfulness stuff as part of the healing journey. But with working with a person who's experienced trauma, we do, like a good trauma therapist will do it in a titrated, a very step-by-step, baby step way. We're not going to just say, tell me about what happened to you. We might be a little bit more gentle.
It's like peeling the onion.
Yes, exactly. Taking it layer by layer, and then noticing after they've peeled that first layer, how does it feel when you are able to process what happened, but also use some of the things that calm your body. So that's the titrated way. Take it step by step, peel back layer by layer, and it might be that we're peeling a very tiny part of the onion. I'm not just talking peeling back the layer by layer really fast. We might say, okay, let's peel just this tiny corner of the piece of the onion, and notice how it feels in your nervous system. The person might be like, my heart is pounding really fast. And then I'll say, okay, let's find something that grounds you. Let's find something that calms you down. Let's just set aside your trauma for a bit, and let's work on grounding your nervous system. I just had my mind triggered. The self-hug.
Self-hug
is a technique that's taught by Dr. Peter Levine. He's the founder of somatic experiencing. So somatic, it's working with the body, getting and having an awareness, learning the language of the body to release trauma. So I can teach that if you're open for that.
I don't need my balloon. I don't hug my balloon.
You don't need to hug your balloon. You can set it aside there. So the idea of bringing an awareness to our body as a container. Our body is a container of all of our experiences, including the stresses that we experience, but also our emotions. So people that experience or it's experiencing high stress or even trauma, like they'll have more energy in that nervous system. So when we feel our body as a container of these feelings, these experiences, it helps to calm our nervous system down. So Dr. Levine, he talks about using the self-hug. So we'll take our right hand and put it on our heart, and then just bring our left arm and wrap it up. I mean, it's so we'll notice it's even helpful to put your hand right under there, right on the side of the heart there, underneath the armpit, and wrap it up. So it just brings a bit of a gentler, deeper embrace. And so just bring our awareness to our body as a container of these strong feelings, emotions, sensations, and just notice as we are bringing awareness to that, we might want to soften our breathing. I've used the idea of having people imagine that they're holding an infant that's crying. And one of the things we naturally want to do with an infant that's crying is rock.
Right.
Gently back and forth. And rocking, actually, it calms the nervous system. That's why we do it with our infants. That's why
right.
children with autism rock. It calms
Right.
it calms the nervous system.
Down. Right.
So we might just like why would I offer myself any less kind and gentle energy than a crying baby deserves?
Yeah.
So as we just gently rock and notice our body as a container, you might notice just some settling sensations going through your nervous system. For me, I'm kind of noticing just a warming in my chest and even a softening through my stomach and belly. And every once in a while, I'm kind of feeling a wave of just relaxation going through my head and face.
Yeah, I feel those, but I also feel a kind of healing. I feel tears welling up behind, just like a. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So no, I always give, depending on the individual experience of the person, I tried this particular visual exercise with a person, and they had a strong emotional response in a negative way, and so I was like, oh, and I found out that this particular person had a colicky infant in their life experience.
Okay.
So you have to find what works. You have to find what
yeah.
works for you. Maybe you visualize yourself on a beach in Bermuda, or you visualize something in your experience that just brings calm, and then you can do that.
Right.
Some people, with some kids, I've used the idea of holding a puppy, and they love the idea of holding a puppy. So you don't even have to visualize anything. You can just notice your body as a container and providing this gentle nurturance like we would to an infant. So
I have a new grandbaby coming in June, so that might be a little bit.
Perfect.
Oh, well, that's
So,
wonderful.
Yeah, so there's a few.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Conrad. Tell us where we can find you. Do you have a website?
I do not have a website.
Email?
People actually are referred by friends and family. Like I don't have to market myself. I'm so busy working for the school division and my private practice. People just find their way to me.
Okay.
So
we'll put your name up on screen, and
if you want to put my name up, like I'm happy to work with people that are experiencing. I do have a passion for trauma, and helping people work through their trauma so they can come back to living again. Because that's what life is. Life is about how do I take care of myself? How do I find balance? And how do I find a way to live again and find that joy and peace?
So that you can help others do the same, which I can feel your light and energy and goodness. And I thank you for being a part.
Well, thank you for the privilege of being here to help our viewers. I see as many people as I can, but I also to have that balance.
Right.
I can't take on too many extra clients just because I've got to be a father, a husband,
yes, you're a busy
brother,
man.
a son, and so I love to help people, and
wonderful.
thank you for the privilege of being able to be here and share some of the things I know.
Thank you. Stress is not what happens to us, it's our response to what happens. And response is something we can choose. On the topic of stress management and emotions, we have Chelsea back with us today.
Hi.
Thank you for coming, Chelsea.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to pick your brain, and we're going to get you to use your gifts and talents to heal me. So we know that it's after Christmas, and that can be a stressful time of year, and starting new goals. And this year is going to be really different for me because I'm alone for the first time. And actually, I've been alone only for the last couple days. Not without a husband, he's just away driving, working, but without children. I've had been raising children for about 35 plus years, and I am now an empty nester. And with that brings some loneliness, a little bit feelings of loss, So, help me, Chelsea.
Okay, so I'm not going to heal you. Just say that first.
Help me heal myself.
Yes.
Okay, I know that.
I'm going to help you to heal yourself using just the tools that we have here. I help people with essential oils. That is my gift, to use the oils. And how they work on an emotional level is they create healthy patterns in the brain. So the limbic brain holds our memories and our emotions. Everything is connected in there. And also something else that's connected in that part of the brain is our smells. So when we're smelling, there's about 50 million neurons that go from the olfactory bulbs into the limbic brain. So that's why there's a connection between memories and smells. And so emotions are also in that place in the brain. So when we're going to different parts of ourselves emotionally, maybe we're struggling with anger, maybe we're struggling with fear, maybe we're struggling with stress or anxiety. There are these different, I call them trenches in the brain. Our brain will create these patterns, these neurological highways in our brain that will take us in these certain directions. And maybe they're not healthy. Maybe we've been taught them, and maybe they've been going on in our family for generations. All right, so we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the emotions and the root of where they're coming from. Okay. And then we're going to repattern our own brains using the sense of smell, getting into that limbic brain, using the oils. So using a pure, I call them certified pure therapeutic grade oils, so you know that they're pure and they're potent, because not all oils are created equal. Right. You want to get a really safe and healthy and pure oil to use for yourself, okay? Especially when you're smelling it into your brain, you want to make sure nothing's in there that shouldn't be.
Right. No
all right?
impurities.
No impurities. So quality and the potency and purity matter, and there's 3 ways to use them, but let's go into the aromatic part, because that's what we're going to be smelling, okay? And you can also think of them as when you're putting them topically, you're getting them into the bloodstream, which the medicine will also calm. So you can use a lavender. The linalool is the medicine in the lavender plant that calms the body down. So you can use that medicinally. Okay, so tell me about stress. So this is a wheel that goes along with this book called Emotions and Essential Oils. You can just get this online, and you work with these two together. So maybe you're coming up with an emotion that you're struggling with. So let's go to overwhelmed, because that's a good word that goes along with stress. Okay. So this wheel has, if you're wanting to dig a little bit deeper in how you're feeling, and you want to identify the emotion. So there's fear, anger, wounded, numb, confusion, control, insecurity, purposeless, sadness, constricted, overwhelmed, unsafe. There's just a few words there. So if we go into overwhelmed, so you're gonna.
You said control, and I felt
control.
Well, I'm letting go. I'm letting go of my children.
Okay. So when you pick a word, so she's picking control, there's a few words in here. And then these words are the emotion, the oil that supports that emotion. Okay? So prideful, controlling, perfectionistic, jealous, excessive effort, willful, or unbridled ambition. Is there any of those words that stick out to you?
Let's look again here. Wow. Say them out loud again. I'm just going to listen to you.
Prideful.
Prideful. I didn't want to say that. I'm just, okay, but it is.
And that's the thing, is it's okay. It's okay to look at them for what they are, because we want to release them and just, it's okay, right?
We want to be honest. We want to get there. We want to get there and get it out.
We're not pretending it. We're just going to be ourselves and just go to that space, because we want to just nourish it and love it and like let it go, okay? Right. So prideful is oregano, okay? So then you're going to look up in this book, LMNO. humility and non-attachment. So this is oregano, and then you can read all about what oregano does and the emotions that it supports. Okay, so we'll just go just a little bit at the beginning. It removes blocks, clears negativity, and cuts away negative attachments. It also addresses a person's need to be right. Individuals in need of oregano may attempt to convert other people to their own fixed opinions. They're strong, willful, and teachable sometimes. You know, you can be a little bit stubborn. I think we all need this at some times, right? When we're honest.
Yeah.
It also dispels materialism and attachment that hinders growth. So if you were to keep your kids home with you, it would, to be honest, it would probably hinder their growth, right?
Right, and even as I let them go, if I still try to keep control, still try to influence them more than I should be. You know, too many phone calls, too many.
It's mom again.
That's right, too many visits.
So this is what you do. Okay, so you're going to take your oregano oil, and it's letting go of negative attachments, being prideful, opinionated, stubborn, materialistic, and controlling, and then bringing in the positive qualities of humble, non-attached, willing, teachable, and flexible. So it's just saying you can put this on the bottom of your feet, or take it internally.
In water.
Or also just be smelling it. Okay. So when this negative emotion comes, you're going to read this. So this is how brain alchemy works. Is you're going to read this, and you're going to smell this oil, and it's going to take your brain to a new highway, neurological highway. So every time that comes up, and the more you do it, so this isn't like a one-time quick fix. This is all gone now.
Right.
But this is consistent daily effort of getting into your emotions and supporting them and helping them to go down a healthy highway.
And changing the whole mindset. So as I read it, I imagine it's like affirmations, right?
Absolutely, and that's big too, okay? So yeah, think of an affirmation that could go along with...
It's safe to let go, maybe?
Yeah, that's a great...
It's safe to let go.
Yes. So then it will solidify even more with the words and the smells, right? You're adding another level of to this. And that's how the emotions oils work. So another one that I really love to use and is a great one for anyone is called Forgive Oil. So what this one does is it helps to release. So there might be, this is the opposite of anger. So if you have old wounds, trauma, maybe they're from childhood, it could be some deep old stuff,
which
right?
Many of us do.
So they're called triggers, and they'll get triggered, and it's just a different situation, but it's that same wound that's coming up. So what you're going to use is forgive. So anytime you're feeling that, just forgive. Use forgive, and then you're just going to smell that. And I'll say a prayer. Send it up, turn it over, and just let that release. And sometimes I'll put it over my heart just to trust it, you know? Just let it go. Everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay. I can let that go. So there's just different ways. Another one, and you could add console, because maybe it's hard to let it go. Maybe it's very painful. So this one works like a hug, and you can layer them.
This works like a hug?
It's like a hug. I call it a heaven hug. Just put it over your heart. So this works really great for grief if you know someone who's lost a loved one. It works really great just because sometimes you just need a hug and knowing that things will be okay. And you can layer them on top. I did already say that. Cheer. And then maybe you need some sunshine. Like let's turn this happiness up. Like let's turn the energy up, the frequency up, that happy sunshine feeling. Like, you know what?
Because the feelings
light.
The feelings that have come to me in the last few days is a bit of loss and loneliness and wondering what next. Even though I'm busy in my life, what next? Because that part of me was just so big and all-consuming.
Oh yes, it is a huge chapter to turn.
It's nice to have that heaven's hug.
The heaven's hug, isn't it amazing? Yep, and that's how you use the essential oils to support your emotions. And this is a great resource, this book and this wheel, and that's how I help people when they come to me for emotional support.
And where can we go to find you for that help?
All right. You can find me on Facebook, doTERRA Mama 7, it's MAMA, and I think that's the best way to reach me. Just message me or find me on my Facebook page.
Great. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you so much,
Feel better already. Fall in love with taking care of your body, mind, and spirit.
All right, we're going to touch a little bit on hormones, weight gain, and the adrenal glands. So when the body is in a stressed out state, the body goes into fight or flight. And we've heard these words so many times, like you're in fight or flight, you're stressed. And basically what happens is the body says, what can I shut down? What can I shut down or just like put on the back burner for a little bit so that I can basically run for my life? And it shuts down the digestive system. Because when you're running for your life and you're stressed out, there's no way that you're going to sit down and eat and have a poop. Like, you're running for your life. You have no time to do that. And so it takes that blood flow that's going to the colon and the digestive system where it should be pulling up nutrients. It takes that and it puts it into the front part of the body so you can have, it's basically to your heart, so you can have the blood flow that you need to move. So your adrenals are perked up and they're like, okay, we're ready to go. We're ready to send out some cortisol and some adrenaline, and we're just running. And now you can't uptake the nutrients that your body needs to survive. So basically you're almost starving your cells, and when anybody's in a starved state, that is another way that the body can get stressed out. And so the body's starving, it's trying to hold on to reserves, and so now you're not taking in the nutrients you need, you're starting to crave interesting foods that really aren't foods because they're so processed, and now your hormones are imbalanced and there is some weight gain. Whenever there is weight on the body that needs to come off, this puts so much pressure on your joints of your body, and that can also stress the body out. The body just gets so overwhelmed, it doesn't know what to do. It does a great job of keeping you surviving in this world, but the point of living is to thrive and to be joyful and have your body working optimally. So just by switching to a plant-based diet, you can help the stress levels. Even if you're struggling with finances, when your body's working better, maybe you can work harder, maybe you can work smarter, maybe you change jobs because you have the energy. If you're stressed out in a relationship and your body's also stressed out, when you can fix the body stress, now you're a happier person to be around. Now you don't have mood swings, you're not irritated, you have energy to actually enjoy this one life that you have been given. So I will say it again and again and again, plant-based diet. It could be starting with just eating an apple a day. Grab some grapes, eat a potato, add some more vegetables into your meal, have a salad. These simple changes in your life will absolutely help you thrive, and then it gets easier and easier as the time goes on, as you switch your diet. So if you can take out the food stress, everything else will be so much simpler and easier to handle because your body's thriving.
Foods that cause stress in our bodies are meat, dairy, extracted sugars, and anything processed. We're here at Shoe Solutions with Ryan Bowles.
Yes. Hello.
Ryan's going to help me figure out how to have better health in my feet. So from experience, Ryan, unfortunate experience, I've had a lot of pain in my feet, especially when I'm on them a lot, which is often. And I understand it's could be from improper footwear or improper foot posture. And so I want you to take me through a process, or show me or tell me about what I can do to ensure that that doesn't happen, because I know that it can cause pain in the rest of the body, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Shoe Solutions, we try to take a really broad look at the body and how it interacts with the environment. So we take a deeper look at the mechanics of the foot, and so we'll do that in just 2 seconds here.
Okay.
And then we use the technology here in the store as well as our background in our training. So I'm a certified podorthist.
Okay.
We look at the foot and ankle and lower extremity biomechanics, and we help design and develop treatment plans for such conditions. Sometimes it's as simple as a really good shoe. Sometimes things get more complex and require conservative devices, often custom made. Many of you are familiar with foot orthotics, compression, bracing. So we consider all those forms of treatment here. But first and foremost, at the base level, we need to identify your foot type, and then we can kind of help to relate that to the world of footwear. So what the iStep scanner does, it takes 3 unique scans of the foot. So we're going to start with your left foot in the center oval and your right foot on the mat on the outside here.
All right.
Yeah, so just stand right in the middle and then put your right foot just on the mat. And so what we're going to be doing is using about 16 different cameras, and there's over 1,500 LED receptors that are going to bounce light off of your foot. And they're going to take a detailed measurement using the light, and then also a postural analysis of the foot and ankle as well. So as we have a look at your scan specifically, it takes about 10 seconds per foot here. So that's what it's doing right now, using the cameras to get the images and the sizing of that left foot. And then as soon as we've got an accurate scan here, we're going to move over to the right foot in the center and the left on the outside. And we're going to do the same thing. And at Shoe Solutions, this is just part of our process. So everyone that comes in gets this treatment, and we want to make sure that no matter how little or big the problems could be, that we're taking the appropriate steps to make sure that we're just ruling things out. Or even if you feel that you have relatively healthy feet, you can always benefit, like you were saying before, from the alignment of the body and the work that you're doing. Footwear is very intended on the purpose that it's designed. So if you're using it for work or hiking, or you need a safety toe, those all make a big difference. So now the last scan that we're going to look at is both feet in the machine on the footprints, please. And so this uses, there's over 5,000 little barometric sensor plates there, and it's going to take a 2D pressure analysis of your foot. And so it's going to help us to isolate any peak points of pressure on the underside of your foot. If there's any areas that are problematic, or with some of the information you give me about how your foot is feeling just in general foot health terms, we can often come up with devices, whether it's an insole of some type, over the counter, or what have you, where we can influence these types of images. For what we're considering today, just getting you into a better shoe, what I would probably say is, just from the scan here, if I use my chalkboard, we can see that you do have peak points of pressure under your heel, which is fairly normal. You have a drop just kind of on the lateral side of your midfoot here on both feet. This is interesting. It's actually fairly common, but it usually indicates that there could be a bit of weakness in the supportive tissue on the underside of the foot, and it's allowing your midfoot to take a prominent pressure point. This isn't ideal. So often, especially if you're prone to lateral injuries where you say you kind of feel sharp pains on the outside of your foot, just initially I would suspect there could be some type of nerve impingement, and it could be because your foot is moving too much, but obviously we would need to look a little bit deeper to help gain information there. But I'd look at this as problematic, and I would probably recommend some methods of treatment there, whether it was an over-the-counter insole or something like that to offload that. Also, these peak points of pressure in the ball of your foot here too, we can do a lot about too. Sometimes it's just a matter of supporting this transverse arch more effectively in the midfoot. We can have a significant impact on the way the body loads in the ball of your foot.
Thank you so much. I've learned a lot just in this few minutes. So let us know where we can reach you.
So with Shoe Solutions, we're here on 542 13th Street North here in Lethbridge. We usually refer people to our webpage, which is www.shoesolutions.ca, to find out more about our products and services. You can even book appointments with any of our fit tech professionals. So any of our staff here at Shoe Solutions are highly trained, and they can guide you through this process and educate you about footwear, or even just in general your foot type, to make the best decisions for your health and wellness.
Okay.
Well,
thank you so much.
My
really
great pleasure.
Appreciate you giving up this time and teaching us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world. Welcome to Coach's Corner. We know that stress is not all bad. In fact, it can get the adrenaline going, which motivates us to move forward. So, eliminating it altogether is not necessarily the key, even if it were possible. Moving to an exotic place to relax on the beach in a hammock, beneath sunny skies, and letting life pass us by is not the answer. It sure sounds tempting, but it's probably not a good plan. So, what is? If in our busy daily routines we cannot eliminate stress, then what is Plan B? Well, it's learning how to deal with it, how to manage it. So often we stress about stress, which puts us in that fight or flight and even freeze response. This causes a cortisol and adrenaline increase in our bloodstream, which increases our heart rate. Our breathing becomes more frequent and shallow rather than deep cleansing and calming, which eventually can cause symptoms like headaches, insomnia, and so much more. Stress can sometimes give us the feeling of energy, but too much of it will actually create change in our bodies that have the opposite effect. These changes drain us and rob us of productivity. Here are some tips on how you can respond to stress when it comes up for you. 1, breathe deeply. Wonderful. Number 2, adequate sleep. Try to get those 8 hours. Number 3, exercise. Anything counts. Walking, dancing. I love to dance. Number 4, hydrate. Drink that water. Carry that water bottle. So important. Number 5, you know I'm going to say it, good healthy diet, as Gina reminded us of in her segment. Number 6, plan your life, your week, your day. Be organized. Make those lists. Take that time. It unclutters your mind. Just like the acronym of HOPE suggests, we need to honor ourselves purposefully every day by adopting positive behaviors, including these stress-releasing tips. Stress, in many ways, is a fact of life, but it doesn't need to be our life. Set peace of mind as your highest goal and organize your life around it. I feel the pain running through every vein. I won't let it stay. No holding on, let it flow away. Every time I want to cry, those unshed tears I won't deny. They'll wash away all the fears behind the mask, behind the tears. No holding on, no holding in. I'll reach beyond what might have been. Allow the lingering darkness out as light shines in and all about. I the ache of all the stress of my mistakes, and I will release, surrender all, and find my peace. Every time I want to cry, those unshed tears I won't deny. They'll wash away all the fears behind the mask, behind those tears. No holding on, no holding in. I'll reach beyond what might have been. Allow the rain bring darkness out as light shines in and all about. I feel the pain, and I'm letting go. My health and wellness journey continues. I am pleased with the progress. I have let go of some diet habits, including cravings, and have adopted some good, healthy habits in my diet, exercise, and in my emotional and spiritual well-being. It's slow, but I feel better, more invigorated and happy. It really does take continual dedication, commitment, and focus every single day, every hour, and even every minute. In keeping with the theme today, managing stress, I'd like to share with you 4 affirmations or mantras that can help in relieving our stress levels. As Conrad mentioned earlier, we can feel stress in our bodies if we tune into them. We may feel the tightening in our chest, or our breathing becomes fast and furious, or our stomach is nervous and uncomfortable. When we feel stress manifesting itself in our body, that's when we need to take a minute to pause and then repeat one of these calm-inducing mantras to ourselves. These 4 mantras that I'm going to share with you come from a book called My Pocket Mantras by T. Chubb. Mantra number 1. With every breath, I feel myself relaxing. Make sure that breathing is a part of this exercise. State in your mind the mantra as you breathe in. Mantra number 2. I have control over how I feel, and I choose to feel at peace. Mantra number 3. All experiences are helping me grow. Mantra number 4. I give myself permission to let go. I am a firm believer that what we focus on becomes reality. So, it's important to consistently listen to our self-talk and do all we can to keep it positive. Today I refuse to stress myself out about things I cannot control or change.